and certainly back in their homelands. So the CAF anthem sounds, carrying the rhythm of Southern Africa into the sky. Angola and Zimbabwe, two nations separated by geography but united by the promise of football. This is more than a semi-final. It's a meeting of pride and potential, where every pass and tackle carries the weight of a country's future. Development football is about more than lifting trophies. It's about igniting the flame in these young players, teaching them to dream big and play even bigger. The world watches as Angola and Zimbabwe step on this hallowed ground. Their futures unwritten, but their purpose clear. For now, let's get the ceremonials out the way and go down to the national anthem of the Palanquinas, Angola.
And now, the national anthem of Zimbabwe.
The anthems have been sung, the flags waved proudly, and for a moment the UJAW Miller Stadium stood still, an arena alive with the pulse of Southern Africa's footballing future. Now the echoes fade into anticipation, the young faces on the field of a vivid canvas of nerves, determination and ambition. This is where it all begins for these young players, not just a game but a chance to carry their nations forward, to become the stars of their communities that will rally around. Angola, the Palanquinas, step forward with the confidence of history and the burden of expectation. And so this is how they line up. They're in a strong lineup by coach Domingos da Silva that consists Omar Oliveira, Josmar Vicente, and South Francisco João Capitão. Really enjoyed watching the look of this team earlier. It's a team that's strong. It's a team that's well rested. And those two players, Elisao and Omar, are going to have a very important role to play on those flanks. Match officials, Nonjabulo Ndlela takes charge of this one, assisted by Nandipa Menze, Piri, as well as Tepe from South Africa. So we have video assistant referee for the very first time, and all South African panel led by Abongile Tom, one of the first officials to officiate a CAF game. He leads that VAR room. For Bakifield Chivenga, he says he needs a little bit of balance between energy and balancing that for the rest of the game. So Zimba's back in the side, Makadzire, Dendera, Chibika, and Chiwawa occupy the back line. Matonsi comes in. He came off the bench in the game against Namibia. He starts. The top goal scorer, El Shaddai Sadomba, will look to partner up well with his fellow countrymen and teammates, Tadiwa Chakuchichi. So from the bustling streets of Luanda to the quiet provinces of Benguela, Angola represent a nation that believes in football as a bridge to glory. The young warriors of Zimbabwe, modeled by resilience, walk into this moment with the weight of a proud nation behind them. The field has been marked, the lines drawn in grass and ambition. In this moment, the past holds no weight, and the future is theirs to shape. Theirs thick with possibility, the kind of energy that only comes when dreams are on the line. Two teams, one goal, a chance to stand on the threshold of greatness. As the referee's whistle nears, the world holds its breath and waits for the battle between Angola and Zimbabwe to begin. The 1500 kickoff will see South Africa play against Zambia in a repeat of the 2022 final, but this midday kickoff is equally important. A place in the final beckons. And so Nandipa Menze kicks us off then, 12 o'clock on the dot. Angola in red and black, Zimbabwe in the green strip. They're the away game here at the UJAW Muller Stadium. When it comes to games like this, it will often come down to who wants it more on the day in question. For Zimbabwe, they've had to wait and pray often on other results. Their place in the last four wasn't confirmed until Botswana drew to the Comoros. Botswana had a chance to progress, but the Comoros causing an upset, as we see Capitao perhaps with the first shot on target here. First touch for Tadiwa Chakuchichi to put in potentially El Shaddai Sadomba. Dala comes off his goal line there. He's played some good minutes for the side, has Gilson Dala. For Angola, their qualification was long confirmed, and they were one of the first teams to qualify after beating Mozambique by a goal to 0 here at the UJAW Muller Stadium. For Zimbabwe, they've been playing all their games out at Soweto. Zimba back in the team. He's developed some supporters here in South Africa already. He didn't play the game against Namibia, to the dismay of many of the Zimbabwean supporters. Raimundo, picture it. First touch for Jose Cabral. Now it's going to be a tight game. None of these teams are going to want to give anything away early. For Zimbabwe, all their games have treated us to quite a bit of goals then. In every single game that they've been involved in, the game has had nothing less than 6 goals. It was a 6-goal thriller against Eswatini, by which they won 5-1. Lost 5-1 to Zambia on their second match day. And then a thrilling 4-4 draw against Namibia. It was how the Warriors have been able to find their way in a semi-final. But when you speak to Bakifield Chivenga, he says somewhat that was always the plan. Matonsi can't get that one through. It's a good interception by Raimundo. It was Blessing Makuchana that played the game against Namibia, but with development football, you've got to give every single youngster a chance. So every single kid that gets on a plane and comes to play at the COSAFA Under-17 Championship needs to get some game time, and so that's what Bakiefield Chivenga has largely gone with. In fact, I'm happy to see most of the coaches then that have come here to the Under-17 qualifiers for the Cup of Nations, they have all gone with a similar methodology, because at the end of the day, while there may be places in a Cup of Nations to play for, while there may be silverware at the end of the proceedings on Friday, these are still young men, young boys, developing and growing and only now starting to understand the intricacies and the nuances that go behind playing for your national team. Jamie Dendera almost dispossessed there. Pressure from Francisco. Enjoyed watching Dendera. He's playing in a centre-back role today. Usually plays on the wide back channels, but today he's been given more of a central role with Gainmore Magadzire and Cleopas Chiwobo playing on those wide back channels. In fact, for Bakiefield Chivenga, it's quite different because Chingoka is also playing now in the midfield along with Shoniwa and Macheka. Captain goes down there, Luawu, as Tadiwa Chakuchichi picks the ball up and takes it on his stride. It's going to fall for Valentine Macheka now. It's still available for the Zim boys. Good clearance by Ivan Manuel. For Angola, they haven't treated us to all too many goals, but it's been a job well done in every one of their games, as Ngonzinashe Chingoka goes down there from a touch from the boot of an opposite man in the midfield. Moana. There's Joao Capitao. Has been influential thus far for the Angolan teams. He's the one to have his boot in a position where not meant to have it there when you're playing a game of football, and it just graces Chingoka. So he's been given more of an advanced role then, as Chingoka usually plays as a centre-back. Today he's going to play as a central midfielder. See how the tactics end up working for Bakiefield Chivenga. Until Gainmore Magadzire, who's played a full 90 minutes so far, one full game for Gainmore. Gets the head of approval, the man of Siesham FC. I was giving you the Angolan results in the group stages. 2-1 against Lesotho to open up the Under-17 COSAFA Championships. That was in fact the first game that we saw here at the UJ Eliabimula, as Jose Capitao dispossesses two men up front, at himself and Lovombo. Lovombo may just get on to this one, although it's gone some way from the box. Good defending to deter him off his path, but it's going to fall for Capitao again. Spy two by Capitao. Capitao hits it, and then it doesn't quite fizzle in, but the momentum is there for Angola now. Wow, a quick start by the Palaquinas. This man is up for it. Achoo! Ach! And he's on the ball again. And Capitao plays for a team called AFA the Club Angola. I don't see. I've been able to do the job though. 1-1 against Malawi was the toughest game that they played to. When Clifford Chisale equalized once Angola were well in the lead. If I can tell you one thing about this Angolan team, is a team that scores quickly. In all the games they've played, they scored first, as Francisco Elisao leaves that ball behind. But the Angolans are a team that know the importance of a quick start. And you can see the intention here with the high press that they're gunning and looking for that quick start, and then they don't mind sitting and just holding and playing the ball. For Zimbabwe, it's quite the opposite then. In two games that they played, they were the first team to go behind. They went behind against Namibia and went behind first against Zambia. So a little bit of contrasting there in terms of how the teams attack one another. And the defense thereof, as we see Tadiwa Chakuchichi. 2 goals so far for the man of Golden Eagles. Kept quiet against Zambia, but as per Becky-Field Chivenga, that was part of the strategy. Foul on Luvumbo by Kenmo Magadzire. So early on here, it is mostly Angola ball. Last time that Zimbabwe featured in the competition was back in 2018. But their absence has made their hearts grow fonder to the competition. They've really excited this year, and I think well deserving of that best second-place team. They didn't win the group, did the Zimbabweans. They were able to qualify after being the best second-place team. Angola didn't play in the semi-finals in the last competition. The last 4 back in 2022 in the competition held in the Malawian city of Lilongwe was Zambia, Malawi, Botswana, South Africa. So 2 semi-finalists remain the same, while 2 fresh new faces. Omar Oliveira takes it on. He's got 1 goal so far, does Oliveira. Sends it to Francisco. Can't quite get a touch here, but Angola asking all the questions here early on. Zimbabwe have not been able to put in El Shaddai Sadomba just yet. They've been put on the ropes here early on, defending with 3. And Francisco is just running onto that one, doesn't get real contact, scuffs his lines. Zimbabwe told to move his towel. He says he also plays some of his development football in Mpumalanga here in South Africa. 2 players in the Zimbabwean team then play their development football somewhat in South Africa, Zimba and Alfred Matonsi. Jerome Muli also played in South Africa's Gauteng Development League. He's on the bench today, but he's a proper super sub, is Muli. Laulau, one-on-one there with Valentine Macheka, who passes it with the outside of his foot. Valentine Macheka, what a star player is Valentine. He's scored 3 goals so far for Zimbabwe, 2 free kicks and 1 against Eswatini in the opening game, goal number 5. Here's Zimba. He's got that sugar, does Zimba. Says he's going to shigisha the ball when I chatted to him during the pitch walkout. And I proceeded to tell him that don't shigisha the ball. This is a semi-final. We'll have to see how much fun the youngster has as we get to the second half. This is going to be KG for large parts. Very tactical, very chess-like. Taking it on is Moana. 3 red shirts ahead of him. Now reinforcements come through. Makeshift shot that doesn't get any real firepower or challenge the goalkeeper. But I think they've been able to win a corner from their efforts. Let's see the replay. Jairo Moana, one of the first corners of the game then for Angola. The box is packed with one man on the edge of it, 3 towards the far post, 2 occupying the 18-yard area. Zimbabwe man-on-man marking. Every Zimbabwean man has picked up a player. Zimba, he's not the tallest of goalkeepers, but he's able to do the job there. Tries to send El Shaddai Sadomba. Hasn't had a touch with 12 minutes of football that have been played as Zimbabwe's striker and top goal scorer so far in the competition. He's followed by a young man from Zambia called Abel Nyirongo. So it'll be interesting as to how many goals are going to be able to decide that award. There's, of course, some awards at the end of the tournament. Lots of scouters and selectors watching the action, so there are going to be some prizes for the guys at the end. In the last campaign that we had in Malawi. Oh, Francisco to the box. He spied you Dendera twice now. Dendera needs to close his legs when he defends. Elisao Francisco, an exciting player, always asking and probing. He scored 1 goal and played 261 worth of minutes in his 3 games. Oof. Oof. Second time that he's shibid Jamie Dendera. Cleopatra tries to clear. Paulo Luvumbo takes it on and then wins a throw-in for Angola. To the box, and perhaps to challenge Zimba. Opens up his body there, has that far post in mind. Zimba tries to clear quickly, but he's only given it to Angolan possession once again. The possession stats definitely favoring the Palanquinas side of things. Francisco. Oh. Zimbabwe very second best in the first 15 minutes. Capital. Carlson Shoniwa wins that one back for Zimbabwe. He's been a regular player then, has Carlson Shoniwa, and he's done his job so well in that midfield. Looks around for options, just Josmar Vicente. Pressure on Dala by Sadomba. Stayed down now has Jose Cabral following the challenge from Jamie Dendera. Had lots of defending early on as the Zimbabwean centre-half to do from Aces Youth Soccer Academy. Dendera. There it's just physical contact sports. No foul there on Cabral, a player that plays for Atletico Petrol Luanda. Actually playing his first game for this Angolan team in the semi-final, which is interesting. It's a throw-in for the Angolans. They thought they'd had a set piece. See our fourth official on the side indicating throw-in. Four fouls for Zimbabwe, 2 from an Angolan perspective. Raimundo. Now Omar Oliveira. Oh, nice little 1-2 play there. It's Oliveira still on his feet, and he's gonna put in Raimundo here. to the back post. Dendera deals with it. He's going to have lots of defending to do then. Will Jamie Dendera today? Matonsi comes back to defend himself. Now, Carlson Shaniwa, perhaps a counter-attack. Picks his head up and sees Chakuchichi. The defense for Angola has been resolute so far. They've watched well. There's a bit of a cramping there from Dala. She's sort of grabbing that hammy area. So another big talking point then for these boys playing, these kids playing in this championship, is that some of them in their homelands and home teams where they come from, they're not used to playing 90 minutes every day. So I'm sure that fatigue will be something that would have creeped in a little bit in their preparation for the games today. In fact, when you chat to both coaches, it's something that they tell you, that we're going to need to be able to balance the energy levels in our team. You don't want to exert too much energy. As we see Sadomba in your picture. Good turnout of supporters week in, day out for these under-17 championships. The Zambians have a group of super-like fans that they travel with at every game. They were always at the UJ Soweto Stadium, and so we'll see them at 3, and then by the time the South Africans play, almost every single one of the development academies comes through to watch. So those seats are going to be packed by the time we get to the 1500 kickoff. If you're planning on making your way here, I would suggest you get the early seats here at the UJ AW Moller Stadium. But yes, some of the kids aren't used to playing the full 90. In fact, from the schools that most of them are chosen from in development league football, most of these boys are 15, 16. That's about the average age. And at that average age, you're only playing 70 minutes. You're playing 35 minutes a half. That's certainly how most development leagues in Southern Africa function. So the 90, a bit of a gap as they look for Sadomba there. Yeah, so the 90 minutes is a little bit of a step up for most of the boys in this competition, especially playing that, because you have a day that you play, you have a day's rest here at COSAFA, a day to play, a day to rest. So it would have creeped in just a little bit. Capital, good footwork by the youngster. Magical feet that he's got. He's going to win this one again. Joao Capital. Marked heavily by Matonsi and co. Don't think Zimbabwe have had a shot on target just yet. The 20 minutes that we've played. And it's Matonsi and Chingoka double marking Joao Capital. It's Chingoka again now. El Shaddai Sadomba gets his first touch, sees Chakuchichi making the run. As he stayed on, referee says yes. Here comes Tadiwa. Winds, and hop shots from, it looked like Valentine Macheka there. Yep. 3 goals so far for that man. He just knows you shouldn't give Valentine Macheka 2 seconds to think in the ball, because you give him 2 seconds and he's going to hurt you. This man tries to hurt Zimbabwe now. Francisco Elisao clips it into the box. Oliveira can't quite get there. Cleopas Chihuahua has been a regular feature in this Zimbabwean 11. Interestingly, then Angola are one of the few teams at this COSAFA Championships to have ever made an appearance at a FIFA Under-17 World Cup. That was back in 2019. Capital. Now Lovombo. Valentine Macheka picks up his head, and now 3 shirts moving from Zimbabwe. Once again, the defending is enough. Scooped forward, it's gonna fall for Valentine Macheka. Skips one. Has assistance through Matonsi, doesn't use it. Chingoka leaves that one behind. It's a foul. A push on Ngonizashe Chingoka. It's gonna be a drop ball here. For the Paraquinas, they won the tournament last in 2021. It took place in Lesotho. Amidst that COVID-19 pandemic that was still causing havoc across the region and the emergence of the Omicron variant. It was during those times where Lesotho able to host the tournament, and Angola, well, they were up for it that year. Defending champions South Africa were absent, so with Zambia and Angola looking to be the pre-tournament favorites, so it proved to be, and they met each other in the final. They beat the young Chipolopolo by 2-1. As the tournament proved a hard take for Zambia, a 2nd year running. So it was in Lesotho, not too far from here in South Africa, where they won the last time, 2021, and played in the 2022 Cup of Nations, as Moana skips past the men in the midfield there. Francisco Namatonsi to potentially start the counter drive. You give El Shaddai Sadomba one touch. He only needs one of those to get beyond you. But the target now is Chakuchichi, the man of Golden Eagles. Moving up the field slowly now. El Shaddai Sadomba. Matonsi keeps it alive. Now scoop back into the box. None of them can hit it. Sadomba, no Chakuchichi. Both Golden Eagles players interested in there, and now Zimbabwe finally come to life, and some of the supporters applaud the play by the young Warriors. Oh, Matonsi, I really liked him when he came on against Namibia, and he's showing why the coach has selected him. So cooling break then. We've had it in almost every single one of the games. When we reach minute 25, hot conditions in Johannesburg. Proper conditions though, proper African conditions for the football. Today's 30 degrees Celsius, with wind traveling at 13 kilometers an hour. So far it's been a tight watch this, a real mastermind between Domingos Da Silva and Bakifield Chivenga. Really seeing their tactics unfold here. Zimbabwe looks like they're happy to play that mid to low block, while Angola are just firing, happy to hold the ball. In the second half, where we see the games start to light up, but let's see the shugela and the spice and the sugar Luvumbo, we are happy. Where are you going? And the fans love it. Why wouldn't you like the shugela in the tea? Yeah, it's a hot day, so the sugar and the tea imagery perhaps makes a little bit more sense. But hope you're enjoying the watch wherever in the world you're watching these games. It's the Under-17 COSAFA Championship to qualify for the Total Energies Cup of Nations. The dates next year I saw are quite late dates. The Total Energies Cup of Nations is going to take place around about September times, so it gives the teams times to go back home, the ones that do qualify, and then prepare once again, all over again. The top 2 teams will qualify. So in fact, today these 2 teams are not just playing for a place in the final, but they're also playing for a place at Africa's showpiece, to the Ivory Coast. Whoever wins this game goes to the Ivory Coast. So there's lots and lots to play for these young boys. Scooped up. Angola, when you chatted to them, they had a similar approach. They wanted an early goal, perhaps to get the first. Because like I mentioned, they don't mind getting the first and then sitting and watching and just being patient with the game. Oftentimes it hasn't worked out. Against Malawi, they conceded a goal at 85 minutes. Also Lesotho, a similar time. But that's really when the fatigue and the lapse of concentration starts to creep in these games. I think what you're seeing now is really the youngsters at their best. But once we get to minute 85, that's when concentration is out the window. And it's all about the brain muscle when we get to that point. Carlson Shoniwa touched the floor for Luvumbo. Valentine Macheka. Clearance by Manuel. No, they've left that one behind. Now it's going to foul. Not quite fall for Sadomba. He's overplayed the pass. Shoniwa keeps it alive and then wins a set piece in Valentine Macheka territory. It was against Namibia where Valentine Macheka from that exact angle scored a free kick. It was in the other game also against Zambia. Valentine Macheka free kick, the one and only goal from that type of position. I don't think there'll be another player that wants to take this. He's such a humble boy though. When you speak to him, Macheka just wants to play ball. And look, he picks it up himself, says, you guys know it. So, Chutoketsi for Botswana also scored one from a similar distance. We've seen some beautiful free kicks. Another one from James Lumbe from Malawi. They're all back home, I hear now on the way. It's a 2-day trip back to Malawi, so they're still on buses and the like back home. So, Chingoka, but the man with the brain in his foot and a heart in his head and a love for football, Valentine Macheka, thinks about how he concocts this one. Valentine hits the crossbar, denied by the woodwork this time. It just doesn't dip in time. Chingoka, Shoniwa does well to not quite lose it in a dangerous territory, but now Zimbabwe are going to need to retreat. This is Oliveira. Raimundo tries to calm it down from the Palaquinas. Box gets past his man and then sees the captain Delphine Luau. Now Omar Oliveira cuts back inside. Oliveira, Siam Dazimba with a good save that and releases Matonsi. That's what he does so well then, Dazimba. Just overruns it. Look at that. Just doesn't dip in time. It dips, but then it hits the crossbar. Got cut out there in the midfield in the hearts, but Luvumbo can't keep it at his field. Gain more Magadzire. Valentine Macheka. This is El Shaddai Sadomba. Now, lots of running room for this man, Francisco Zimba. Hi, Zimba's Mnandi. Look at that. What confidence from the young man. And then Dendera also wants to play. The game is slowly coming alive. The fans also playing their part. They're spurring these young athletes on and making them really live the moment. Chibika. What does Zimba do with it this time? Just passes it. Simple. This is Chingoka coming back to get the ball and then sees Matonsi. Straight to the chest of Manuel. No capital for Angola. Accepts that onto the chest, does Chakuchichi. Oh, Valentine not on the same wavelength as Tatiwa Chakuchichi there. But what interests me is that this Angolan team, they're a team that knows world experience in terms of their coaching personnel and knowing how to get their players to the world stage. Just this year, they played in the Under-18 World Cup. So we know that this tournament is Under-17. This is an Under-18 age group. So how it works with development football, many countries often choose which age groups they want to focus on. Some go even numbers, and they start their development Under-12, Under-14, Under-16, Under-18. And then some go odd numbers. Under-11, Under-13, Under-15, Under-17, and then Under-19. But Angola, interestingly, they also have an Under-18 team, and their Under-18s are ranked 13th in the country, in the world. They're ranked 13th in the world. That's after they played in the Under-18 World Cup in Brazil, made it out of the group, and made it to the round of 16. Imagine that. So this is a coaching team that knows how to build a team for the global stage, even. As Paulo Lovombo. It's dispossessed by Chibika. Referee says nothing there while Chibika remains on the ground. Matonsi chases this one. Goalkeeper's out. Alfred Matonsi can't score. Oh, goodness me. Alfred Matonsi. It's the goal in himself and he still can't score. They say, Tata, Shaba, Uze, take and eat, son. He says, I'm full. How is he full when they haven't scored? He says he has a full belly, but they don't have a goal. Because look at this. He's over the goalie. And then look at, for that moment, for just that one moment, it's Alfred Matonsi and the goal. And he says, no, I'm full. Unbelievable. Zimbabwe should lead, probably. The biggest chance of the game, and it hasn't been taken. The goalkeeper knows how to distribute a ball. Sianda Zimba's distribution is one of the best I've seen in this tournament. And what he does so well, does Zimba, he distributes it quickly. Once he gets it, he looks up, he knows Sadomba's going, he knows Matonsi's going, and then he plays it. It remains 0-0 in South Africa between Angola and Zimbabwe, between the Palanquinas and the Warriors. Wow. Absolutely wow. A bit of volley like football, that. Omar Oliveira wins it back. Good putting himself and body on the line for Chingoka. And then Chakuchichi. Macheka. Sadomba's moving. Again, the target is Tadiwa Chakuchichi. Flair stays down. He has the option. Valentine Macheka pulls the trigger. The bullet has the firepower dwindled. Alfred Matonsi will feel that he should have maybe scored. Oh, you've just got to love youth football. You just got to love youth sport. I mean, the game is scoreless. It's 0-0, but there's been lots of goal-mouth action. Angola have had their chances through Eliseo Francisco. And then the biggest Zimbabwean one falls for Matonsi. But this is Zimba. Says he plays in Mpumalanga for an academy there. I wonder where. Loves to play with the ball. And his distribution once again there is so good. One back by Eliseo Francisco, and then gives it away to Valentine Macheka. Matonsi on his bike, opens up his body, sees Chakuchichi and Sadomba in the box. Sadomba fights and Sadomba fouls Josmar Vicente. The captain rather, Delphine Luau. Angola won their very first COSAFA title back in 2018. That's 6 years ago now, where they became the 6th new champion in the 8 competitions that were played. Tell you what, do you know what's interesting about that campaign? The brother of Polo Luvumbo, Zito Luvumbo, was a rising star back then. Geez, Zito was brilliant in 2018, but now it's a new generation. Times for new youngsters to take up new opportunities. And so Polo Luvumbo knows he's got big boots to fill. They took the full 9 points from their 3 games, defeating Malawi, Eswatini and Zimbabwe in one of the only head-to-head games they've played, 2-1 and a crunch decider. Interestingly, that was the last game that Zimbabwe would go on to play in the COSAFA Qualifiers until this year. So that's interesting. The last time they met was in a group decider. This time they meet in a Cup of Nations decider. Livumbo, it may just get through to him. It will fall through to Francisco. Now, Jose Capitao! Oh, Zimba deals with it well. Well, the game is alive now, is it not? Now it's booming and breeding with potential and possibilities. Good, graceful touch that to play in Matonsi. Macheke. Wasteful. 5 minutes to go. We haven't seen all too many stoppages, so I think at a time-wise we may just not have all too much of that. Jose, go Joao Capitao. Tries to take advantage of the height of Zimba. Tell you what, you think he's small and you think you can't get the ball beyond. And then he just saves it somehow miraculously. Oh, Chibika just overruns that, gives away a corner to the Palanquinas. Captain of the side had a tough day here against Namibia, but with development football, the coaches say they know the players the best and they know how to get the players going and when a player feels it. And Chibika is still good. Gary Chibika. 2 corners so far from the Palanquinas. Scooped up the way of Ivan Manuel, cuts it back with the volley pass. Still Angola ball. Francisco with the left foot. Look at that quick distribution again. Valentine Macheka. Goal attempts. Angola have double the amount of shots goalwards as opposed to the Zimbabweans. 3-0 Zimbabweans, all their shots not on target yet. Oh, this is a blistering run this by Omar Oliveira to play in Eliseo Francisco! Angola nicks the post and goes in! taken them 42 minutes, but that goal will rapture from the bustling streets of Luanda to the provinces of Benguela. 1-0, and Francisco scores. It starts with Omar Oliveira. That's why he's getting the love from his teammates. It was a blistering run. And then when he puts in Francisco just puts enough power to get it beyond. Alessao Francisco with goal number 2 of the tournament. Interestingly, he scored Angola's very first of the competition. Oh, it nicks the bar and then goes in. Just a kiss on the bar. Kiss of God. Kiss from the Palanquina gods. Nothing Zimba can do about that. It's a brilliant finish. A subtle touch. He scored the very first for them in the competition. This may just be the very important. That man's going to fall on those stands. Someone catch him. If you don't press with caution on those stands, you'll... 1-0 in Johannesburg. In Angola, it's just how they like it. First goal, lead the game, control the game. That's the Palanquina way. And so Zimbabwe take this opportunity to get some words from their coach. This is Jose Cabral that's gone down. Jose Cabral from Atletico Petrol Luanda has played every single game for the Palanquinas, 270 minutes. And like I said, I think that fatigue will also start to set in. When you speak to the coaches then, that's what they say, that they need to balance the legs of the youngsters, because you don't want to qualify for a final and then have a dead team on Friday to play with, a team that's completely done with legs-wise. It's 5-on-5, Chingoka and Cabral. And I hear he won't be coming back on. They've made a change and brought on jersey number 20, it would appear, for Angola, Diaz. And 3 minutes you saw there also going to be added on. So Perivane Diaz is going to be the replacement, but he's going to have to wait a tad bit longer to come on. The man again of Luanda. Lots of Pedro Luanda boys in the team. About 10 from the best academy in Angola. Perhaps shows why the team has played with so much poise and precision. Now Pakifield Chivenga's men need to respond, just like they tried to do against Zambia, just like they did against Namibia. The last time that these two teams played one another, it was in that group decider. Angola winning by 2-1 that day. If we look at the head-to-head in a competitive level, of course, these teams will play each other frequently in friendlies in preparation in something called the COSAFA Challenge Cup. But this is the one that really matters, the place at the Total Energies Cup of Nations. Ivory Coast is the goal. And for the Angolans, they're 45 minutes away from reaching that stage once again. So it looks like they're going to make the change now. Here then will Angola. Perivane Diaz comes on. He's played 166 minutes so far in the competition. This is the first game, as a matter of fact, that Diaz is rested. He comes on perhaps inadvertently because of a knock to Jose Cabral. 60 seconds remaining in the first stanza. High clearance, that's the way of Jamie Dendera, stays within the parameters of the pitch. Perhaps there's one more moment of drama. It remains Zimbabwe ball following that clearance from Manuel. Handball on Valentine Macheka. So the Palanquinas have their hard work rewarded, perhaps through the prayer that was most likely to get that goal. Well, the additional stoppages all but up now. Kenmo Makadzire. Lau. Good work in the midfield. Capitao. Lawawu. Back to Capitao. Dendera launches one more up the field. Omar Oliveira had one brilliant run roundabout from there, and he's going to have one once again. Omar Oliveira. So that's about does it for the first 45 minutes here in the UJAW Muller Stadium. And that man the difference so far with his second only goal of the competition, Elisao Francisco. The man that plays for CD De Oxt is the only player to really be the thorn in the opposition's side. There was a big chance for Alfred Matonsi for Zimbabwe, but the better opportunities and the more opportunities have fallen for the Palanquinas, and the halftime score definitely reflects it. So Captain Delphine Luawu gets through words at halftime. The confirmation of the score then for you after the first 45 minutes: 1 Angola, 0 Zimbabwe. Those are the stats from the first half. 52% possession for the Angolans. It's been tight in that regard, but the most telling of those statistics, 4 shots on target, nothing for Zimbabwe. So they'll look to get in their crucial men through El Shaddai Sadomba and Chakuchichi in the second half. Stay tuned. We will be back after a halftime break. Let's quickly go to the halftime intermission. Until then, it's 1 Angola, 0 Zimbabwe. Valentine hits the crossbar, denied by the woodwork this time. Look at that, just doesn't dip in time. It dips, but then it hits the crossbar. Referee says nothing there while Chibika remains on the ground. Matonsi chases this one. Goalkeeper's out. Alfred Matonsi can't score. Oh, goodness me. Alfred Matonsi. It's the goal in himself, and he still can't score. Take and eat, son. He says, I'm full. How is he full when they haven't scored? He says he has a full belly, but they don't have a goal. Because look at this. He's over the goalie. And then look at, for that moment, for just that one moment, it's Alfred Matonsi and the goal. And he says, no, I'm full. Unbelievable. Zimbabwe should lead, probably. Livumbo, it may just get through to him. It will fall through to Francisco. Now, Jose Capitao! Oh, Zimba deals with it well. Not have all too much of that. Jose, go Capitao. Tries to take advantage of the height of Zimba. Oh, this is a blistering run this by Omar Oliveira to play in. Elisao Francisco! Angola nicks the post and goes in with goal number 2 of the tournament. Interestingly, he scored Angola's very first of the competition. Oh, it nicks the bar and then goes in. Just a kiss on the bar. Kiss of God. Kiss from the Palanquina gods. Nothing Zimba can do about that. It's a brilliant finish. A subtle touch. He scored the very first for them in the competition. This may just be the very important. That man's going to fall on those stands. Someone catch him.
Asayanka, 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 Isatuma selula kwa Mungu, Asayanka, Asayanka, Asayanka mbuye, Asayanka, Isatuma selula kwa Mungu, Asayanka, Isatuma selula kwa Mungu, Asayanka, Asayanka mbuye, Asayanka, Asayanka, Isatuma selula kwa Mungu, Asayanka, Isatuma selula kwa Mungu, Asayanka. Tumaselula kwa Mulungu Asayanka, tumaselula kwa Mulungu Asayanka. Yamawini lero, yamawini, yamawini, yamawini. Alo, tumaselula kwa Mulungu Asayanka, tumaselula kwa Mulungu Asayanka. It is a wonderful day. It is a wonderful day. This is a wonderful day. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It is a wonderful day. 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 Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It is a wonderful day. They forgot the water. They will remember what after singing.
They'll remember singing afterwards.
Yeah.
Mapiri, you are a TLO, not a water boy. No, I'm telling you. You must draw the line. You need to tell them. What if something happens? Can you report what's happening inside? Nothing. See? And we want a statement from you, you won't give us. They need to teach their boy, these are kids, they need to teach them responsibility.
Here we are at the final 45 minutes, potentially to the road to Ivory Coast. It becomes slimmer and slimmer and slimmer by the moment for Zimbabwe. For Angola, they're 45 minutes away from the dreams of greatness, the dreams of brighter days. Let's see who takes this one home. Looks like Angola preparing one change. Being changed is jersey number 11. That's going to come on then from Angola. Jersey 11 was already on, so it doesn't look like there's any change. Omar Oliveira was playing the game. Already. He in fact had that brilliant assist. So 45 seconds, or 45 minutes rather, await. Angola really dominated in terms of possession and shots on target in that first period. We'll have to see whether Zimbabwe have it in them to respond. It's official then, the road to Ivory Coast becomes that much slimmer for Zimbabwe and Angola. Novombo fouls Gainmo Magadzire. This is really where, well, if history tells us anything, Angola start to control more of the ball in the second half and just hold it and play football, play the Palaquina way. Zimbabwe know that they need a goal. They've been able not to find, well, they've not been able to find their target players in Sadomba and Chakuchichi quite in the first period. But this is where we see the game open up. This is really where we start to see youthful exuberance as Chakuchichi played in behind. Good defending that by Josemar Vicente. Watches and makes sure that he makes the tackle just in time, does Vicente. Happy to watch that one out for a corner. Haven't had all too many Zimbabwe. I think this must be one of their first corners of the game after 45 minutes worth of action. Yep, corner number 1. Valentine Macheka delivers that to the far post where Omar Oliveira was watching. The last appearance in 2018, Zimbabwe. Heard they've been building from Mutare to Harare during their selection process. In the meanwhile, to come and play at a continental development tournament requires lots of preparation, and that's the only thing that really is able to make the nations that qualify. The Zimbabweans are not happy with that challenge. They feel the play should have gone on. Tadiwa Chakuchichi looks like he had just gotten into his stride. Referee believes this should come back to be a foul by João Capital on Carlson Shoniwa. He was very lively in the first half, was João Capital. If it wasn't him, it was going to be Francisco who scored. It wasn't Francisco, it was going to be him. Scooped up. Now it's going to fall through here for Dendera. Jamie Dendera. Sadomba was lurking. I'm not sure whether Dendera was going for goal or trying to put it across back to the face of goal. Perhaps neither. It's a miss-hit. Hit it almost with his shin in that upper part of the boot. Angola made their regional debut in this tournament back in 2001. So they've been playing in lots of these competitions. They're regular. The third best team after South Africa and Zambia, who play in the next kickoff as Chakuchichi beats a man. Satomba goes to the box. Chakuchichi plays it across, but the goalkeeper, Dala, watches that one well. Now they're finally finding one another, so the Zimbabweans. Their maiden victory, like I said, for Angola 4 years ago now, beating South Africa 1-0 in the final. One of the favorite teams whenever South Africa play in a competition like this at COSAFA level, they're going to be a favorite. So Angola followed that up with back-to-back bronze medals. They've been third a couple of times, third in 2019, third in 2020. And they always seem to really dominate when it comes to that bronze game. Remember a few years ago now, they beat Mauritius 7-0. Or Namibia in Mauritius 7-0 in a bronze game. So they are ones that are regular. It was going to feature in the conversation in one way or another when it comes to a COSAFA tournament, a under-17 championship such as this. I've mentioned some of the exploits of their under-18s, ranked 13th in the world. You heard me right, in the world. Bekifield Chavenga. What does he have under his sleeve this time? Tell you what, he's got lots of players on the bench that he could still put on. I haven't seen man that New Zealand plays in jersey number 7 for Zimbabwe. He's on the bench. Kupakashe Mazokera. There's Tariso, Ignitus, Muzvoa, Jerome Muli also still on the bench. So there's lots of players that they could still use. I think there's a bit of a delay here. Down at the bottom with the technical table and the fourth official. And she's not mic'd up properly. She needs to be able to communicate, and here our fourth official, Sinoyateng Tepe of Botswana. CAF officials, they're proper. They ref some of the biggest games on the continental front. They were involved, many of these officials, also at the recent under-20 championships that took place in Mozambique. And even at the ladies ones, the under-20 ladies, which took place here in Johannesburg, where Zambia ended up winning. Speaking of ladies, semi-finals wise in that regard, we've got Mozambique and Lesotho playing right now out at the UJ Stadium, and the other one is going to be Madagascar and Zambia ladies wise. So Mozambique, Lesotho, Madagascar, Zambia. South Africans out of the picture as of Monday. That's the goal, Omar Oliveira. And then it's a brilliant finish. That's in a place where the goalkeeper is never going to get. It's an inch-perfect delivery. He takes just a singular touch, does Elisau, and the fans lose their minds at the UJ Muller Stadium. That's been the goalmouth action so far here. That's the goal scorer, Elisau Francisco of CD De Oxt. The 2009 born player, so he's only 15 years. He's eligible to play once again in this competition next year. So Zimbabweans in the building, and they are still waiting. Some Zambians have also come through to the house. It's going to be a packed UJ Muller Stadium this. There the Zambians are. I told you they're ready and waiting for their game, which will kick off at 1500 hours, 3 o'clock against the South Africans. And they've got a whole host of supporters that travel with them. Administrators that make a tournament such as this possible. It's not easy without the VIPs. That's where they're sitting. Mr. Bartlett in that right corner. But everyone trying to find the best sitting room, the best place to watch this spectacle that is development football. You want to get the best seats in the house to get the most beautiful view. And this is the Shugela, Guasuga, Sugela, Shugela, 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 Sugar. So, I think we're all ready to begin. We've seen some of the faces of the crowd. We've seen some Shugela. Always need some good bit of that. And I think, Sonia Ting Tsepe, she's all mic'd up now and can communicate with the officials, including the VAR. We have got video assistant referee for the semi-finals, which is led by Abongile Tom. Haven't needed to use it yet. They're watching on and they're ready on standby. So, Nonjabulo Ndlela says, all good to resume. We had a breakage there of about 3-4 minutes. So all that time is going to be accounted for towards the end. Zimba. Oh, goodness, look at this kid. He's way out of his goal line. Is Sianda Zimba. I promise you, Sianda Zimba wanted to play midfield somehow and he wasn't able to, because, my goodness, I've never seen a goalie out like that, except for in FIFA, when you're winning 5-0 and you start to take out your goalkeeper. But not in the under-17 COSAFA Championship. Now chased by Chakuchichi and Kelson Dala. Happy to just take his time. It was offside in any case. It wouldn't have counted. A bit of a delayed whistle from our near side official, Nandipa Menze. Zimbabwe have a good batch of development leagues back in their country as they slip here. This is Elisau again! This time doesn't quite hit the targets. Francisco. Fans approve. Zimbabwe almost caught sleeping. And that probably would have made the task a tad bit harder as the captain goes on and then plays onto the box, and Zimba accepts and then launches his cannon of a boot forward to Tadiwa. Chakuchichi doesn't go down in the box. They're asking the question of the referee. It didn't look like there was any contact. The fans know that there's video assistant referee also, but that looks soft. I don't think they'll go to the video assistant referee. I think the referee has got that one right. Nonjabula Ndlela. A corner is as good enough as it's going to get for Zimbabwe. She's communicating with Abongile Tom and asking if there's anything that needs to be looked at. And corner. Quick decision that by the video assistant referee in conjunction with the ref. But there wasn't really anything on that, was that? For Chakuchichi, but there's a festive, feverish atmosphere now here at the UJAW Muller Stadium. 2-2 corners wise. Macheka. Dendera will come onto this one for Zimbabwe. And win a set piece will Jamie Dendera. I like Jamie Dendera. He's able to play a whole host of positions in the back line. He collides there with jersey 20 of Angola, Diaz. And this time they're putting on Gainmore Magadzire on the set piece. And he's probably going to look to find one of the many green shirts in that box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Zimbabwean players in the box. Chingoka fighting. He's the tallest player in the box then is Chingoka himself and Josmar Vicente. It's going to be an interesting battle there. Chakuchichi's got good height on him.
If you push him, it's a penalty.
So Nonjabulo Ndlela says if you push him, it's a penalty. And if you push him, it's a foul. And they know that we're watching. Gainmore doesn't get beyond the first defender. Polo Lovombo, the striker, has to make use of his height in a defensive manner. Get some applaudance from his team. Does jersey 9 of GD Inter Club. All of a sudden now Zimbabwe lead the corner count. That is a minor statistic. They'll want to get one back goals-wise. Jamie Dendera. And again, can't get beyond the Angolan defense. Charged down, that's by Mayuna. Here away by Lawau. Another one by Manuel. Only the way of Gainmore Magadzire. So we've hit the hour mark here. Hours worth of football in this first of two semi-finals. 30 minutes away from the Ivory Coast as they leave that one for Sadomba. Makes up for his defending, does Delphim, the captain. But Zimbabwe has got development football also similar to South Africa. Almost in every single one of the regions and provinces in Zimbabwe, there's something somewhat of a development league, and so it's given the selectors and coach Chivenga some bit of headaches in selecting the team that's going to play here. Many critiques have said the boys largely selected from the Harare regions, and they wanted them, the selection, to go as far as Mutare and Bulawayo. The coach's response is, wherever the kids are the best, that's the kids that are going to play. And the academy structure is also quite a bit of a conversation to be had. Oh, that's a good skill, that by Chibika. And then Valentine Macheka crawls on the ground, wins this one back. He has the biggest footballing heart, Macheka. Oh, hey! Woo! Woo! Almost catches the goalkeeper sleeping there. Kelson Dada. Well, he crawls and then he almost climbs, does Valentine Macheka. Then he crawls for it on the ground and then tries to shoot for the Harare Stars. Takes a touch, it was headed goalwards. That was headed goalwards. Dala needed to respond and it was sufficient. Another delivery to the box and suddenly Zimbabwe find their momentum. I told you about the type of game that this is going to pan out to be. Angola dominate the first half, ask all the questions. Suddenly Zimbabwe start to find their life. Making roads inwards, clear posture, Wowo does enough. Accepts it onto the chest, does Chakuchichi, but Vicente, somewhat of a clearance that to his captain, and now there's a counter-attack. Omar Oliveira, that's a delightful ball. Angola! Score again, Omar Oliveira. Provider for the first, scorer for the second. And he sends the whole of Luanda into a party. 2-0, and Angola can now feel and smell and touch the Ivory Coast. Omar Oliveira, he's a proper winger. It's such good wing play, but it starts with the pass. For me, it's the pass. Looks onside. I'm sure they'll check that. We've got video assistant referee that will be checked. But Omar Oliveira will celebrate in the meanwhile and reach for the Luanda skies. Calm, cool, and collected. Omar Oliveira is a cold, cold man. Goal check happening at the moment. Abongile Tom and Co going through it. He's assisted in that VAR control room by a corner, Zenit Makalima. And now the youngsters get to feel what it feels like to play in the pro game. You score and then you hope and wait that the goal counts. Looked like he had stayed slightly on, but when they start drawing those lines, it becomes a marginal game. And so the nerves creep in, and we wait. Well, Abongile Tom does his thing. Looks like they've still checking. This is a lengthy check going on here, I think, for offside. Probably for offside. Let's see what the VAR room comes up with. This is the first time that we're heading to a video assistant referee in the tournament. Look at him, he waits. He waits, Oliveira. Captain starts to commend him, and the goal is going to stand. Check complete. Angola lead by 2-0. Omar Oliveira is the most relieved man in the stadium now. And now it looks and feels a little bit more comfortable for the Palanquinas. 25 minutes remaining in the tie. Do Zimbabwe have it in them to conjure up 2 goals? I wouldn't rule this game out just yet. Almost all the games that we've seen, the goals have come late goals that we've witnessed here. On average, we see about, on a day, 10 goals in the last 10 minutes, which is incredible. I'm saying just in the day, on any given day. In the game between Zimbabwe and Zambia, the score was 1-1 at minute 75. It ended 5-1. Francisco takes it on the bar and then is watched well by the captain, Gary Chibika. Direct wing play by Alisu Francisco. So he's conceded 2 goals today. Zimba tries to organize his defense. But these are young boys. They're going to play the game right up until the end. They're going to play it for their country and serve for their lands right up until the final whistle. Because one Zim goal changes the entire trajectory. But I think another Angola goal perhaps seals it. Let's see. Omar Oliveira sees his captain, Luau. Gets past Macheka. Macheka carries on the press. And then recycles to Manuel. Diaz. Ambitious ball by Diaz. There's no Angolan attackers there. Chakuchichi can't play to another Zimbabwean man. And now they can just get their third. This is Lovumbo. Sianda just enough. It was offside in any case. Player goes down. Captain Delphine Luau. He's really had a good shift out in that central midfield role. Nothing much has gone past him. He's been a bulldog, like a bulldozer, really, in that center of the park. He's served his country very well. So the last time that Angola found themselves in this position, in potentially the talking points to go through to the Cup of Nations, was back in 2018 when they claimed their first title. In fact, 2021 rather, when they won in Lesotho. They wouldn't play in another final until then, and then 3 years later, they're finding themselves in the same type of position. Cole Tsamba to try and salvage things for Zimbabwe. Kenmo Magadzire makes way, and Cole Tsamba has been a regular man that's come off the bench for the Zimbabweans. So 20 minutes now remain in the tie, and the curtain closes on, or slowly closes on, the Zimbabwean dreams. There is a bronze match that's played between the losers of the semi-final, so not all doom and gloom yet. There's a bronze medal to be played for also here at the COSAFA Championships, but they'll really want to go to the Ivory Coast. That will be the real goal for the side. Set piece. Tsamba comes onto the pitch, and his first touch of the ball, the set piece that doesn't find any targets in the box by his own players, and hit the target entirely. So the last cooling break of the 2024 COSAFA Championships for Angola and Zimbabwe. Valentine Macheka, is there another throw of the dice, or Angola heading for their third final and hopefully their third title? What's interesting then from the Angolans is that every single final they've played in, they've won. Take you back to 2020, where they played in a final and beat the young Chipolopolo 2-1. Take you back to 2018, that was the very first final they played in. They beat South Africa 1-0. So when you start to take those numbers into account, you perhaps start to think that perhaps this is another year for the Palanquinas to be successful on South African soil. .31 degrees still here. So I think we'll see about 5 or so minutes of added time because of those lengthy stoppages with refs and checking their communications. So perhaps this is another year for the Palanquinas to lift the silverware and head to another Under-17 World Cup. Ball through for Chakuchichi, who can keep the dream alive. Macheka hits the back of the captain, Lawawu. Joao Capitao, blistering run, similar to the one that Omar Oliveira had in the first half to go in and assist, and it's Sao Francisco. Cut out by Joaro Moana. Scooped up the field. Willing runner is Tadiwa Chakuchichi. Not going to get there. For Zimbabwe, The last time that they won it, like I said, 2007, the tournament in Mauritius. They beat Mauritius 3-0 in the final. Imagine it was Mauritius that played in the final in that year. Quite interesting. But real standout for performers in that tournament. I remember a beautiful tournament out in Mauritius. We had Christopher Piri, Kingsley Hakiwa. Brilliant players for Zimbabwe, going to have fruitful careers. Yellow card for Matonsi. One of the only players in the Zim side to play in a South African Development League. The Gauteng Development League. He spent lots of time there. He pulls the man there. Quarter of an hour, 15 minutes to go. Straight from the training ground. This is some impressive stuff from Angola. Just to play it in, does replacement. Jersey 7, Domingos. He plays at Atletico Petrols, Luanda. And if Angola are able to get to the final, it would be a repeat of one of two of their victories, because if you remember, 2018 they beat the young Chipolopolo, 2021 South Africa. So these guys have had good outings so far, just not chosen for the starting 11 today. Alidacio Domingos and Denzel Leon are going to make their way on for Angola. Leon plays at Club Real Massama in Portugal. The young man in your picture now, he undertakes his development out there. And then for Domingos, he's at Atletico Petrolos Luanda. So the Portuguese bound players, 1 goal so far. Does Denzel Leon. He scored on day 1 against Lesotho. Zimba out of his goal and more than comfortable. Takes a limp and then distributes. Bolo Levombo. There's a brother that played in this tournament and went on to have a fruitful career, a fruitful development career. Collides there with Sianda Zimba. Fans are slowly pulling in. Also saw the Safa Transnet School of Excellence in the corner here where the commentary box is. They've come to every single one of the Amajimbos games. Lots of academies are going to come and watch Amajimbos play. But until then, it's a dozen minutes. It's a dozen minutes for Zimbabwe to keep their Ivory Coast and Cup of Nations dream alive. The stage they've been only at one time that year where they were successful, 2007. 2 teams, of course, are going to qualify. So about today, there's a little bit of celebration that also can be had by the sides. The Northern qualifiers are also taking place at the moment, with Egypt leading in their group. Cameroon are doing well. Nigeria, always a standout team. Morocco look like they'll qualify once again for the Cup of Nations. Senegal are one of our few teams to go represent us out at the World Cup. They'll be back once again in September next year. COSAFA. Oh, that's a really good ball. Looking for Alfred Madonsi if he can keep this one in. And the answer is no. It's just overrun, overcooked. But this is the championship, 10 minutes now. This is where you've got to commentate on your feet. You've got to really watch the game because anything now can occur. Which is where the fatigue starts to set in and concentration starts to lapse slightly. Angola, Delfulawawu plays in Dominguez, marked and watched by Chibika. The exciting thing from a CAF perspective as a whole is that FIFA just this year has announced that there's going to be more participants at the World Cup, at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup. Chaku Chichi beats Vicente, can't get a ball, is sufficient enough for Sadomba. He's been deprived of service today as El Shaddai Sadomba. Haven't said his name all too many times with him on the ball because these teams have had time to check and watch and plan for one another. It's interesting when you go to these COSAFA Under-17 games. At a Zimbabwe game, for instance, you're going to find the Angola video analysts watching and seeing. And they've obviously identified Sadomba and they've cut him out. Dominguez. And they've obviously cut him out and said, let's keep him isolated, keep him quiet. Dominguez has come with a burst of energy. And that's what youthful exuberance does. But from a CAF perspective, like I was telling you, it's exciting because with the expanded format announced as of this year, 48 teams, they're taking 8 teams almost per confederation. So it means that this time, how it previously worked with the World Cup, is that the top 4, the 4 semi-finalists from the Cup of Nations would qualify. This time, it means that the quarter-finalists, every single team that's able to reach a quarter-final is going to go represent us in Qatar. So teams like Angola will have that at the back of their heads. Like I've said, they've been at that stage at under-18 level already, finishing in 13th place. And really, if you want to look at where it's gone right for the Angolans, they've started it right from the bottom in terms of their development football. Lots of hours put behind infrastructure from the base to the top has been proper. And now they've selected their bunch of players to represent here. They've started with provincial championships, and then from the provincial champs, there's national champs held, and then selectors at the national championships, incorporating both school and club football. So they've really got the best of both worlds, and we're seeing it here. Dominguez. Navumbo in the box. Yanda deals with it sufficiently. Wants to serve. Only serves the feet of Jairo Moana. Omar Oliveira, my man of the match for this game, as Leon. As the shots there, just doesn't have the targets nor the power. And Dominguez, he's been lively since coming on. Not too many changes made, interestingly, from a Zimbabwean perspective. Lots of fans starting to do their own coaching from the side, saying it's time to use your mind. But for Zimbabwe, they'll be throwing everything they've got at it now to try and save a place. But wow, the defending from Angola has been, in fact, the entire tournament, they're one of the teams to concede the less goals. Of course, South Africa and Zambia have been superior and have had relatively good runs, but following them in terms of goals conceded, you've got these guys, the Angolans. They've just gone about their play in such a diplomatic way. It's so hard to fault this Angolan team. They've done everything right the entire tournament long, and they're about 5 minutes of regulated time pending stoppages from another under-17 World Cup. They're second in their history. Chihuahua. Those legs, like I said, start to hurt when some of the players in their teams play 70 minutes, 60 sometimes at school level. Chihuahua goes off limping. Like I've said, for Becky Field-Chavenga, not too many changes made in this one. Stuck to his same team, and perhaps that's been the point where they stumble. Youngsters like Mazokera, even given a time to come on and show their talents. Loawu takes his time now. They can feel that they're almost there. They haven't lost a game the entire competition long. I remind you of their results: 2-1 against Lesotho in the first game, 1-1 against Malawi, and then they beat Mozambique 1-0. They are truly a force to be reckoned with in the Southern African space. Denzel Leon lays one off. That's for Moana. Luau now inviting ball for Omar. Sure, this kid has played well. An assist and a goal, and he's been the standout player for Angola. The man that's really troubled Zimbabwe. We're going to have a brilliant final on Friday. Well, it's going to be an absolute peach of a watch. Shoni was fouled by Denzel Leon. And Carlos Shoniwa. The Zimbabweans, though, for both these teams, the idea is successive planning. And it doesn't end here at these under-17 COSAFA qualifiers. Well, all the applause is there because Jerome Muli has come up to warm up. That's a player that played in South Africa for some time then. There's 3 players in the Zimbabwean team that have played in South Africa: Muli, Matonsi, and Zimba. And all of them are cheering now because Muli is going to get his time to shine. So like I was saying, it doesn't really end here for these players. In fact, The idea is that this is where it begins, the love of the game, the feel of continental football. That's what Becky Phil Chivenga said to me when I spoke to him then, the Zimbabwean coach, that these boys have never won a tournament before, have never played a tournament before for their country. All they were told is put on a kit and go and play for your country. And this is where they really start to learn what it means for themselves, for their families. And that's sometimes the lesson in development football. That's sometimes the victory in development football. Corner here. To the back post. Poor touch from Madonzi. Double change is being prepped by Becky Phil Chivenga. Like I said, one of the players is Jerome Muli. That's going to come on. The other is jersey 11. Or jersey 18 rather. So Muli is gonna come on. Oh, look at that additional time. 9 minutes. Perhaps the Harare gods are right here in Johannesburg and they looking for an upset. 9 minutes. I was thinking about 5, 6. We've got lots and lots of time still to go here. For Angola to hold on and for Zimbabwe to try and salvage their campaign. So, firstly, I think that time for the sorting out of the comms of the referees. Secondly, there's been quite a few stoppages in the game, so 9 minutes is fair. And the Zimbabwean boys are going to take it by the scruff of the neck, but they need to score now if they're going to stay into this one. Valentine clips it for Sadomba. He hasn't been able to get into that position for long, and his face is a story of frustration. El Shaddai Sadomba. So Tadiwa Chakuchichi sprints off as Blessing Mukanya makes his way on. Blessing Mukanya came on as a replacement against Namibia and then was taken off once again. Chakuchichi, my boy, is done. So 11, so it's the duo of Golden Eagles players taken off. Sadomba and Chakuchichi, and Muli and Mukanya will get 7 minutes of final action. Muli in front of his former team here in South Africa, in front of his parents, his friends. That's what youth football is about. It's really been such a good show, this of youth football, this tournament. So far we've seen 64 goals scored in the competition, an average of 3.44 per game. El Shaddai Sadomba has 5 goals. You'll have to hope that Abel Nyerongo is kept quiet against South Africa. South Africa have their own boy, Neo Wushuku, who's on 3, but nowhere near the tally of Mabena, that was 9 back in Lilongwe. Now Omar Oliveira tries to run onto that one again. Mulip leaves some body on Vicente. Domingos battles against Dendera. Namukanya gets his first touch. It was an AFCON 2019 when the sides last met in the final group stage game. And when the stakes were the highest, it was this type of game, because back in 2019, whoever qualified would go through to the semi-final. Angola won by 2-1 that day. This time it's seeming a little bit more seamless. 2-0 and very, very comfortable. None of Angola's games have looked shaky. They've looked resolute, they've looked rested, and the planning definitely is evident. Like I said, in development football, it's all about planning 2-3 years in advance. the Zimbabweans, like I hear in the tournaments that they weren't coming, were also planning this very tournament, but it doesn't quite go the entire way for Beckfield Chivenga, so it appears. But like I said, in youth football, it's the lessons, it's the memories, it's the friends that the boys will make here along the way. It's the new supporters that the kids will have. I think players like El Shaddai Sadomba have really become fan favorites. Chakuchichi, I saw some South African players, South African fans coming through and saying and touching his hand. And that for these Angolans, the dream lives on, and we'll see them once again at a Cup of Nations. Yep, man of the match confirmed here. It's jersey number 11. As I'm hearing the communication, Omar Oliveira. November onto his chest. Matonsi can't keep it in play. So they're going to make a goalkeeper change, it would appear here, also Angola. And they're preparing a whole host of them. Foul throw by Marcos Raimundo. See, there's always youthful mistakes that show that kids are still 16 and 15 years old. Won't see many of those in the pro game. So the final, semi-final, we'll see Amachimbos play against Zambia at 3 o'clock here at the UJAW Muller Stadium. In about an hour's time, we'll have that kickoff. But this has been a good watch, a good showing of development sports and football. Like I said, there's also a bronze medal to play for, so it's not all done. But the troop rangers that are being prepped in for Angola, Edward Chiakuakua, and the goalkeeper, Robert Tremoko. Nevombo tries to lay off for Raimundo, who does get onto it and keeps the ball in Namibian possession, in Angolan possession. It's a corner, but not before the changes are rung in. Then they'll get in a minute and a half's bit of action. Well, the two young men making their way on. Jersey 16 for Angola. Edward from Luanda has played 22 minutes so far in the tournament. And Rodrigo Tremoko gets his first appearance of Club Oriental de Lisboa, the goalkeeper. And I always want to explain when they make a goalkeeper change or a leg change like this, that this is development football at the end of the day. The kids need their time to shine, need their names said out when they get their first bit of feel of the green lush turf of the UJAW Muller Stadium. Spy 2. Yeah, the captain is good. Delphine Luau I wonder who's going to have their name up there for player of the tournament. That's going to be an interesting one to see. I wouldn't want to be the selectors. Woo! I don't see. Because I think every single one of the players that have come here to the competition have really played. But that's it. The first tickets to Ivory Coast confirmed. Angola will be headed to the 2025 Total Energies Cup of Nations. Emotions for the men from Angola. What a display. There will be parties all the way from the bustling streets of Luanda to the quiet provinces of Benguela. This nation represents a football. This nation represents a team that believes in football as a bridge to glory. And they are headed to the glory of Ivory Coast once again. For Zimbabwe, a valiant fight by the Warriors. They fought in true Warrior style, but it just wasn't enough against the powerful Angolan outfit. They'll be back to play either South Africa or Zambia, whoever loses in a bronze medal match. But they've played so well. Jerome Muli has a smile on his face at the end of the day, because this is youth football, where the lessons go beyond a victory. But after 90 minutes, after 99 minutes, over almost 100 minutes of actions, the party will happen in Luanda. Angola qualify for their second ever Total Energies Cup of Nations. That's what the celebrations are about. They know they'll be headed to Ivory Coast, this golden generation of Angolan footballers. What a game. What a performance. And after the 90 minutes, it's 2 Angola, 0 Zimbabwe. Stats: Zimbabwe go the whole game without a shot on target. 6 for Angola. Possession also favored the young Palanquinas. And the Palanquinas move forward onto the final, and most importantly, book their tickets, their airplane flights to Ivory Coast in 2025. Blistering run this by Omar Oliveira to play in Elisao Francisco. Angola nicks the post and goes in. Elisao Francisco with goal number 2 of the tournament. Interestingly, he scored Angola's very first of the competition. Oh, it nicks the bar and then goes in. Just a kiss on the bar. Kiss of God. Kiss from the Palanquina gods. Nothing Zimba can do about that. It's a brilliant finish, a subtle touch. He scored the very first for them in the competition. This may just be the very important. That man's gonna fall on those stands. Someone catch him. Zimbabwe have a good batch of development leagues back in their country as they slip here. This is Elisao again. Fans approve. Zimbabwe almost caught sleeping. He's captain, and now there's a counter-attack. Omar Oliveira, that's a delightful ball. Angola! It's such good wing play, but it starts with the pass. For me, it's the pass. Looks onside. I'm sure they'll check that. We've got video assistant referee that will be checked. But Omar Oliveira will celebrate in the meanwhile and reach for the Luanda skies. Luau. Now inviting ball for Omar. An assist and a goal, and he's been the standout player for Angola. The man that's really troubled Zimbabwe. Angola qualify for their second ever Total Energies Cup of Nations.
Actually,